Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining us live. We are waiting for the sun to go behind the mountain there. So those of you that are watching this recorded, I am going to wait. Dr. Rappy will be joining me in a moment, and we will be waiting for some people to join us live as well. So thank you for being here. It's a beautiful day. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. It's a beautiful day out here in La Quinta. And like I said, we are so close to the mountains and the sun's going down. I guess time is changing. So hope everybody's had a great day. It's been a busy Tuesday. I have to say it's been a great day. Got to connect with some really great people. But when you come on, give us a little wave, a little hi. We are talking all about, oh, hi, Debbie, thank you. All about gas and bloat, digestion issues. Yes, we're going to be talking about that because our theme for January has been let's connect with our body, very important, and don't just settle for how you feel. It's time to do something different. Debbie, isn't it? It was a beautiful day, and I know for all of our East Coast people, there's crazy weather around the world, but it's beautiful here, so glad that you could join us. We go live every Tuesday on Facebook, and we're excited to be here. So like I said, today's topic is going to be gas and bloat got you down. Is anybody here brave enough to raise their hand and say, oh, hi, Shauna. Brave enough to raise your hand and say, oh yeah, I've experienced gas and bloat? Maybe. All right. Dr. Rappy will be joining us in just a moment, and we're going to kind of take a deep little dive into digestion issues. So if you have any friends and family around, I know that they have all experienced gas and bloat at some point. Thanks for your honesty, Shauna. We've all been there, right? Yeah, Debbie, we've all been there. And now the key is when to realize, I think I need to do something about it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because we don't want you to just settle for how you feel. We want you to feel great. So yeah, we're just going to wait for a few more people. And again, if you have experienced any sort of gas or bloat, raise your hand. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that. And just kind of a little heads up, next week is February, which is kind of crazy. I feel like I was just doing our, hey, welcome to January, it's 2022. And now we're going to say, hey, it's almost February. We have a lot of exciting things going on in February too, because it's American Heart Month. And you know us over here, we're always talking about preventative things. So I'm excited to talk about today's topic, gas and bloat got you down. Dr. Rappy is coming right around the corner now, and because he's going to read his little disclaimer, and then we're going to dive in because there's a lot going on when there's gas or bloat, and what is your body really telling you? So he's right here. And
hi guys.
So
just in time for the sun to go down. It's perfect.
Yes, that took a little longer than we thought.
Where's the clock? Let me look.
So we're trying to figure out our
5 minutes.
Our timing.
4 minutes, 3 minutes.
So
disclaimer time, ready? This presentation is for informational purposes only. The information is not a substitute for your medical doctor's advice. This information is not meant to prevent, diagnose, treat, or cure any health conditions. And if you are concerned about your underlying health conditions, please discuss it with your medical doctor or visit your local ER.
Okay, so that's our disclaimer. Again, I am Lori Rappy from Thrive Functional Wellness Center, and my husband, who will be right back, is Dr. Rappy from Thrive Functional Wellness Center. We are located here in La Quinta, California, and we do work with wellness members and patients all over the U.S. and Canada. So wherever you're watching us from, welcome.
Had to get some light so I can see. I'm Dr. Rappy from Thrive Functional Wellness Center.
We're obviously having lighting issues.
We're off. Hey, this is live.
You know what?
What do you expect?
This is the beauty of live.
Yes.
So, all right, so let's get into it. So today's topic is gas and bloat got you down. Yeah.
Gas and bloat. Got you down.
So if you eat and you're bloated afterwards, or you're bloated all day, these are signs that something is going on. If you have the occasional gas, people think, oh, it's no big deal. I'm just going to roll down the window. You know, that's one thing versus I have these symptoms every day.
All the time.
And our theme for the month is we need to listen to our body.
Listen.
So don't just accept how you feel, because if you're bloated every day, no, that's very uncomfortable, right?
Uncomfortable.
So
yeah.
So
changes your attitude, changes everybody's attitude around you, changes your activity level, where you go, what you do, who you're with. I mean, it really has an effect on your life that you're not aware of unless you take a step back and think about, how does this affect me?
Exactly.
Maybe I don't go to lunch with my girlfriends like I used to once a week and have a good time finding out what's going on, catching up, because I got gas. I don't want to sit there and just root a toot while everybody's talking. You know?
Right. There's that. And we are going to talk about the things like constipation and diarrhea and other things that could be happening or may start to happen. Like what the doctor's saying is, then what are you missing out on?
What are you missing out on?
You're not hiking because you're afraid of there not being a bathroom.
Right.
You may not go and play with your, do activities with your family and your friends because you're worried about all that, the gas, the bathroom. So bloating can be a sign of bigger health issues. So Dr. Rappy, tell us a little bit about that,
Let's
please.
go with a couple of different things. It could be a sign of a number of things. Maybe there's some dysfunction with regards to your digestion.
Yeah.
I have hypochlorhydria, means low stomach acid. So I'm not breaking down my foods into the smallest micronutrients so they can be absorbed through the normal lining of the intestine, where you have full intestinal integrity, right? So that could be a source. We're looking at food sensitivities. People don't acknowledge food sensitivities.
Yeah.
I can tell you 25 years ago, whenever we had barbecued ribs, I would have a sinuses and a sniffling and Lori would say, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that was fabulous." And I didn't make the connection till we really started diving in, as Lori would say, diving in and digging deep into what's going on. And then I realized that I had an allergy to what was in there, which was gluten, obviously, in the sauce.
Right.
So there's that. And then it could be a bacterial issue, whether I've got a bacterial infection in my stomach. Maybe I got dysbiosis in my intestinal tract, which means a bacterial overgrowth of bad bacteria compared to good bacteria. Your microbiome is screwed up. There's trillions and trillions of bacteria in there, and it has to be in the right ratios in order for you to be healthy. So those are just a few of the many that can cause it. Those are the big ones that we see.
Yeah. And Shauna, thank you for sharing that. So what Shauna's saying is iceberg lettuce bloats me to about 5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So what I love about you sharing that is people think that good food, clean food, that you don't have food sensitivities to because it's healthy, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's an iceberg lettuce? Nothing that you think is bad.
Right.
But for Shauna specifically, it presents as a food sensitivity. So she has to connect with that, and hopefully she's avoiding iceberg lettuce.
Right.
That's the key, is you get the information and now you need to listen to it.
Right.
Because we have foods that are clean and healthy, but they affect us.
I have food sensitivities. She's got some. We're like everybody else. Believe it or not, there are two. I have Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid autoimmune condition. And there's two foods that will stimulate my immune system to attack my thyroid. They're probably two of the healthiest foods. Everybody that's going to hear this is going to be shocked. One, salmon. Amazing, amazing, right? The omegas in there, it's just fantastic. Blueberries. One of the best antioxidants on the planet. I cannot eat either of those two. If I do, I go into a full-blown thyroid storm because I have autoimmune and it'll attack my thyroid. So I stay away from those.
Yeah, and people are always so surprised to hear that. And so what I do as a supportive wife is we don't have salmon or blueberries in the house. And we've known this, maybe for 4 or 5 years
Unless I've been
now.
a bad boy, then there's going to be a little salmon in the salad or blueberries mixed in with some cookies or something. right? Yeah, so then I know I have a thyroid storm. I'm like, okay, what did I do? Let me make amends. I don't want that to happen again.
Just sneak it in there.
Slip
Don't
it
say
in.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of good info to have. So, so food sensitivities, they're real. And again, they're different for everybody. And that's why it's so important to do the work. But then you do the work, you identify it, but then now you need to do something different about it. That's the key. I can't tell you how many people say, oh, kind of like the doctor, oh, I have that reaction to salmon, but then they keep eating it.
Yes.
And I'll say, where's your self-care and your self-love in there? There's so many other options. So other potential causes of bloating, we have kind of a whole list that we wrote down because it really could be a lot of different things like IBS, especially if you're constipated.
IBS is big. Digestive disorders like Crohn's.
Which I'm going to tell a little bit about my Crohn's story in a moment as well. Fluid retention, dehydration.
Right. Constipation, big.
We already talked about food allergies. SIBO is something that we see quite often.
If you don't know what SIBO is, that's small intestine bacterial overgrowth. The bacteria and the microbiome of the small intestine is different than the large intestine.
Right.
And so SIBO is something that we're starting to see more of it. It's much more challenging to deal with, but if you don't do the right steps, it can get really severe. So it's a big one.
Yeah, so it's definitely something we want to address. And Ronnie, I think you just joined us. So the key with the food sensitivities, the salmon and the blueberries, we weren't saying that there's anything wrong with salmon and blueberries.
Fabulous.
They're on the good food list. But Dr. Rappy is...
But I'm allergic to them.
He's allergic, kind of like how earlier Shauna said that she's allergic to iceberg lettuce.
Iceberg lettuce.
So what's amazing is when we work with our wellness members, we go through all these different steps and it's really easy to identify what the food sensitivities are. Your body will give you the information, then you have to choose whether to listen or not.
Right.
So that's important. Again, other things that can cause bloating can be infection in the gut, hormone changes. People don't realize that, right?
Wow, hormone changes. And that goes for men too. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you can't have hormone imbalances. Of course you can. Believe me, we've seen many, many men come in here that didn't think they had any issues, and we checked their hormones and they're estrogen dominant. Right. And you know what happens when men are estrogen dominant? Uh-oh. That's right. They get a man's ear for Christmas. Where on earth does your wife get a man's ear? At Victor's Secrets? That's right next door to Victoria's.
He loves that
one. I
one.
love that one.
Just cracks
no, but
up.
serious. Men can have hormone imbalances too.
Yeah.
Too much testosterone. Maybe you're low testosterone, and you're using a testosterone cream, a bioidentical cream, and then you snuggle your wife, and the next morning she's got a mustache, right? That's called cross transfer. You're transferring it to your spouse. Same thing happens when women use the creams, the estrogen creams.
Right.
They snuggle with their spouse, and then all of a sudden he's estrogen dominant. So you just got to be careful with all that stuff. I'm not opposed in any way, shape, or form to bioidentical hormones. They need to be monitored appropriately and altered appropriately.
Right. So it always goes down to what we talked about. You have to test. Test. You don't know where your testosterone, your estrogen, all is unless you're testing.
Correct.
So we test. So now we have that information. Doesn't matter where you were a year ago. This is about testing where you are right now so we can address it. And
absolutely.
So again, other causes of bloating, like I said, we wrote down this whole list because we wanted to make sure that we didn't miss any of it. Hormonal changes, allergies, and last but not least,
thyroid dysfunction.
Yeah.
Yes, thyroid dysfunction. Huge.
So how do you know you have thyroid dysfunction? You have to
test.
Right.
Right.
So you guys know the theme of what's going on. So all month we've been talking about all different types of symptoms, right? I mean, we can talk about gas, bloating, we can talk about hormone issues, we can talk about thinning hair, we can talk about any of the symptoms. The idea is your body is trying to tell you something. Are you going to listen? Are you going to listen when it's a little red flag, or are you going to wait till it's a full-blown disease? we're here to say there's things that you can do about it. There's holistic solutions, but we've got to get you in here. We need to have the conversation so we can then test, right? So now what I want to do is, because we're still talking about gas and bloating, is I'm curious if you guys know what the top 5 digestion issues are.
Top 5.
Yeah, and this is an important list. So the top one, what is it?
GERD, acid reflux, same thing.
Heartburn.
Heartburn. Yeah.
If you know anybody who has this is a big deal.
Right.
And it's interesting. I always think that the number 1 would be gas or bloating or even like constipation, but it's not. And I feel like almost everybody that we see has heartburn.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you a little secret. When people work with us in our wellness program, I would say that's the number 1 thing that we hear. People are like, my heartburn's gone. My heartburn's gone.
Just had a chef in yesterday. Chef. He's a chef. We were chatting. He's doing well. He's lost some weight. He feels more energy, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, but hey, he goes, my heartburn or reflux is gone. I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. Here's the problem. Heartburn, reflux, GERD, all of those are really the same. We're having gastric juices or acid from our stomach is refluxing up into the esophagus. So it's uncomfortable. It's irritating. But most importantly, if it goes on long enough, we can develop what's called Barrett syndrome, where the cells that line the esophagus literally are going to change into stomach cells. Yeah. So now my esophagus is producing hydrochloric acid just like my stomach is. It's not good. And then it therefore can lead to, down the road, to esophageal cancer, which is not a good thing to have.
No.
Not a good thing to have.
So the most important thing in what Dr. Abby just said is you need to take that red flag of what your body's telling you and do something about it. Not just say, oh, I'm going to take a Tums or whatever people take. It's no big deal. You have to get to the root of the problem. Because if you don't, that's an example of a little something that, oh, I got a little heartburn, can turn into a much bigger issue.
Turns into crisis mode.
We don't want to be in crisis mode.
No.
We want to deal with it earlier.
Correct.
So the second thing of the top digestion issues, the second thing is chronic diarrhea.
Chronic diarrhea.
Now, I'm just going to say the third one, chronic constipation. So what's interesting about both of those, I almost want to talk about the constipation first, is we see so many people who literally say, oh, I only have a bowel movement every 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, doesn't that concern you? You should be concerned.
Yeah.
Right? It means your body is not functioning properly.
Right.
And then on the flip side, having diarrhea all the time, right, depletes your body of so much. And that's also a sign something ain't right there. Right?
Or we see people that go diarrhea, constipation, and they just flip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's really important. These need to be dealt with. You should have a bowel movement every day. Think about it. If you eat 3 meals a day, we should be going out. We don't want all of that toxic waste to be stuck in our intestines, particularly if we have leaky gut syndrome. All of that toxic material that's backed up in there that's only coming out every 3 days, it's just seeping into your bloodstream. Now we've got toxins flowing through our bloodstream, including entering into our brain. Don't want it.
That's not a good thing.
No. Long term, it's really, really bad. We've got to address it.
Very, very important. And then number 4 on the list is Crohn's disease. And number 5 is IBS. So Crohn's disease, I was actually diagnosed with Crohn's disease around 27, almost 28 years ago. And I had a very stressful childhood, and my stress was very much in my intestines. So it wasn't a huge surprise because I, as a teenager and in my early 20s, I flipped back and forth. I had diarrhea, I had constipation, but I was young. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any support. I was just like, whatever, it'll go away. Well, it didn't. I had our daughter who just turned 28, and I immediately had some very severe symptoms. So what had happened at that point was all those little red flags I had years earlier, well, I did not listen. So what did my body do? It gave me huge red flags. I'm talking horrible bowel movements, bloody everything, TMI, I know it's live, but it was really bad. And I went through 9 months of grueling, horrible, I won't go into any of those details of the testing that I did. And this was back in 1994. So this was a while ago. They do things differently right now. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and it's in my ileum where my small and my large intestine attach. So it was very hard for them to find it, going here, going there. So they found it. What was their solution? Here's 16 pills for you to take during the day. 16 pills, steroids. I tried it, I think, for a day. I called the doctor. He said, I don't feel very good. There has to be a plan B. He said, there is no plan B. Good luck to you. I was only 27 or 26 years old. I was young, had a new baby. And so really that's when we started this journey, because we dove into nutrition. We got everything out of the house. I made everything from scratch, because back then there was no gluten-free. There was no almond flour. There was none of what's in the stores. And it took me a few years to get my symptoms under control. So what I always say is I actually feel blessed for the fact that I had that experience back then, because it really makes me a compassionate, understanding coach and support system for people who have digestion issues. Because I can tell you that I know what it's like to look around everywhere you go. Where is the bathroom? I know what it's like to be afraid you're not going to make it to the bathroom. And I'm even going to share, I know what it's like to not make it to the bathroom. And all of those things are shaming. It's real, and it's happening to people every day, and people don't talk about it. And so when people come to us and they can work with us, we know what it's like. And you know what? Back then, they didn't give me any solution. They told me that within 10 years, I was gonna have bowel cancer, colon cancer, and have a bag. And so for those of you who don't know me, I'm pretty vain about things, and I'm like, not happening. I am not taking on that diagnosis. I got that diagnosis off of me. I'm not taking it in. I don't accept that. That is not what's gonna happen to me. It's been almost 30 years later, and I'm healthier now than I was back then. So there's things that you can do about it. Even though the medical model may say it's hopeless, all you have to do is take drugs. So I love to be able to share with people hope, the idea of hope. And I share my story on our website. I share it kind of everywhere, because a lot of people who come to us feel pretty hopeless, because if you've gone to a whole series of doctors and they're like, sorry, there's nothing you can do, here's the medication, they don't accept or look at what stress plays in it, what food plays in it. So we're really able to get in there and work with you very closely and support you and get you to the other side. And we're passionate about that work, because again, it's work. I'm mindful of, what I can eat and what I can't eat now. I have a little list of things that I'm allergic to, and I don't go anywhere near them. But guess what? I have all these foods here that I can eat. So these are the things, so people don't have to go through years and years of trying to figure it out. We have the system and the shortcut and all that. So I want to share a little bit about my story. Whenever we get on this topic, I kind of get excited about that, because the biggest reason why I like to share that story, not because I like to recap anything, but because I want to give people hope that there's solution. And so if you know of anybody who's suffering with any of this, have them call us. Again, we need to get to the root of what's going on. We need to do the testing, and then we can customize all the next steps. So that's my little banter about Crohn's and IBS and colitis and all that.
100%, I agree.
Yeah. So again, if your body is, we pick the gas and bloat by saying, does gas and bloat get you down? Because that's the most common thing that people relate to. The other piece that people really relate to is the acid reflux and the heartburn. So our message is be connected with your body. Listen to what your body's telling you. Let's test. Let's see what's going on. Let's get to the root of the problem, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Got to test and identify.
Yeah, yes.
Then we can make a plan. We can draw a roadmap to success. How do we get healthy?
Exactly.
Follow these steps.
Because there's things that you can do about it. And like I said, you don't want to get to that place where you can't do anything about it. You don't want to be in that, because every day our body is in an amazing healing place. You're either supporting that healing process or you're supporting the disease process based on what your choices are. So
Yep.
That's kind of all I wanted to share
That's
about gas
it.
and bloating. What
Gas
about
and
you?
bloating. Roll the windows down. Yeah. You're
So-
not doing that in Minnesota. It was 15 below yesterday, so there's no lowering the windows there. Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness, the
15
weather
below.
is crazy, and
Yeah.
we've got what, 75
Yeah,
degrees at
beautiful.
1 o'clock today, so we definitely live in paradise.
We're fortunate, lucky to be here.
Yes, so thank you for everybody who joined us live, and those of you who watched this recorded. We do have it on our YouTube channel and Facebook, so if you have friends or family that are not on Facebook but you want to share the information with them, they can go to our YouTube channel, the Thrive Functional Wellness Center. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
We
We'll see you next week. 'Cause
Yes.
We'll be here every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, 4:30.
4:30.
We come live here, and it's going to be February, like I said earlier, and we're going to be talking a lot about the theme of American Heart Health Month, right? Very, very important. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shauna, and thank you, Debbie, and thank you, everybody who
Thanks,
joined
guys.
us. And have a fantastic evening. Bye.